You need a wife, and I need a dad. The small voice came through the tinted window softly. Holden Ashford looked up from his phone, startled. A little girl stood outside his limousine, alone. She clutched a worn, stuffed rabbit tightly to her chest. Her eyes held something he recognized immediately: loneliness that runs bone deep. Holden pressed the button, lowering the window slowly. Rain had just stopped. The parking lot was empty. "Where's your mother, sweetheart?" he asked gently. The girl pointed toward the community center building. "She's inside, volunteering. I got bored waiting, so I came out here." She couldn't have been more than 6 years old. Blonde curls framed her small, serious face perfectly. "I'm Willa," she said, extending her tiny hand formally. "And you look sad, just like my mama." Holden felt his throat tighten unexpectedly and powerfully. "I'm Holden," he said, shaking her hand gently. "And you're very perceptive for someone so young." Willa climbed onto the limo's running board uninvited. "Mama says I see people's hearts." Holden Ashford was CEO of Ashford Industries, a billion-dollar tech empire. He had everything money could buy, except what mattered most. His wife, Eloise, had died 3 years ago, suddenly. Heart failure, at 34. No warning, no goodbye. Just gone forever. They'd never had children. Now Holden lived with that regret daily. He worked 16-hour days to avoid going home. His penthouse felt like a mausoleum. Beautiful, cold, impossibly empty. Today he'd driven himself to this community center. His assistant had arranged a donation meeting, but the director was running late. So Holden sat alone in his limousine, always waiting for something he couldn't name. Until Willa appeared, like a small, unexpected miracle. "Why do you think I need a wife?" Holden asked, genuinely curious. Willa tilted her head, studying him carefully. "Because you have sad eyes. Mama has them too, ever since Daddy left us." Her words hit Holden like a physical blow. "I'm sorry, Willa. That must have been hard." "It was," Willa said simply, her voice honest. "Mama cries sometimes when she thinks I'm sleeping. She tries to be strong, but I hear her." Holden felt tears burning behind his eyes. "Your mama sounds very brave." "She is," Willa agreed, her face brightening with pride. "She works 2 jobs, and she volunteers here teaching art." "So does love," Willa continued seriously. "That's why you need a wife, and I need a dad. Maybe we could help each other." Before Holden could respond, a woman came running. She looked frantic, her brown hair falling loose. "Willa, you can't just wander off like that." The woman stopped short, seeing the limousine, her daughter sitting casually, a stranger in an expensive suit. "I'm so sorry," she said quickly, pulling Willa down. "She didn't mean to bother you." "He's not bothered, Mama," Willa protested gently. "We were having an important conversation about loneliness." "I'm Holden Ashford," Holden interrupted gently, stepping out. "And your daughter is remarkably wise. She wasn't bothering me." The woman looked at him, recognition dawning slowly. "You're the donor meeting with Director Patricia?" "I am," Holden confirmed. She had tired eyes but a gentle smile. Paint stains marked her jeans. "And you are?" "I'm Margot Findley," she said, shaking his hand hesitantly. "I teach the children's art program twice weekly." Willa beamed proudly. "See? And she's beautiful too, right?" Margot's face turned crimson instantly. "Willa Grace Findley, that's enough." But Holden was smiling genuinely. "She's not wrong," he said quietly. That encounter should have been the end. But Holden found himself returning to the center. He told himself it was to oversee renovation. His company had donated funds for expansion. Really, he came hoping to see them. Margot and Willa appeared every Tuesday and Thursday. Willa would run to his car, chattering excitedly. Margot would apologize, blushing, pulling her daughter back. "She's taken quite a liking to you," Margot said one afternoon. "The feeling is mutual," Holden admitted honestly. "She reminds me what joy looks like." Margot's expression softened with understanding. "Director Patricia mentioned you lost your wife. I'm so sorry." Holden nodded, his throat tight. 3 years ago. We never had children. That's my biggest regret." "It's never too late," Margot said gently, "to find purpose, to build connections." Her words stayed with him for days. Holden began joining them for small moments. Coffee after Margot's class, walks in the park. Willa always between them, holding both their hands. "This feels like a real family," Willa announced happily. Margot looked at Holden, her eyes uncertain. "Willa, sweetie, Holden is our dear friend." Holden knelt beside Willa, his voice gentle. "Your mama's right. And sometimes the best families are the ones we choose, the ones built on friendship and love." Willa thought carefully, then nodded wisely. "So you're like my chosen dad?" Holden's eyes filled with tears. "If that's okay with you and your mama, I'd be honored." Margot wiped her own tears, voice trembling. "Holden, you don't have to—" "I want to," Holden interrupted softly. "Not to replace what I lost, but because you both reminded me that love isn't limited, that opening your heart honors the past." Over the following year, their bond deepened beautifully. Holden attended every school event, helped with homework, took Willa to father-daughter activities, but he respected boundaries, always honored Margot's role as parent. "You've given her something I couldn't," Margot told him one evening. "A father figure who shows up consistently, who loves her without condition." Holden shook his head gently. "She gave me purpose again. You both did." Margot reached across, squeezing his hand. "We're not rushing anything. Maybe we never become more than this. But what we have, it's already everything." "I know," Holden whispered, squeezing back respectfully. "And I'm grateful for every moment, for friendship, for chosen family." 1 year after their first meeting, they celebrated. The community center unveiled the Eloise Ashford Memorial Art Wing, named after Holden's late wife, funded by him, run by Margot. "This honors her memory," Holden explained to Willa. "She loved art. She would have loved meeting you." Willa studied the plaque thoughtfully, then hugged him. "I think she sent us to you." At the opening, Holden stood between Margot and Willa, not as traditional family, but as something equally beautiful. "Thank you," Margot whispered, watching children flood the space. "For seeing us, for choosing us." "Thank you," Holden replied, arm around Willa's shoulders, "for reminding me that family isn't defined by labels. It's defined by love and showing up." Willa looked up at them, grinning. "Remember when I said you needed a wife and I needed a dad?" "I remember," Holden said, ruffling her hair. "I was wrong," Willa continued wisely. "We didn't need labels. We just needed each other." Holden looked at Margot, then Willa, his heart full. She was right. They'd built chosen family based on respect, care, and courage to love without erasing the past. Because sometimes healing comes from opening your heart to new connections, to friendships that feel like family, to little girls who see your soul and remind you you're not alone. And sometimes the greatest love stories aren't romances. They're about 3 lonely hearts finding home in each other's kindness. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, subscribe, and comment.